here today. And for those of you joining us in person, it is such an honor to have you here as well. And on the online platform, on the front end, on the back end, and even on social media. It is such an honor to have you here today. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to all of our sponsors as well. Now, to start us off, I am going to speak to you all about the Warriors Blueprint for young leaders rising with faith, resilience, and purpose. Now, the young leaders define. Young leaders are individuals who choose to influence, inspire, and guide others regardless of age or title. They lead with character, integrity, vision, and the courage to create positive change in their communities. I truly believe if you are young, yes, you, there is a leader in you. Don't give up. Now, faith. What is faith? Faith is believing in the things that we cannot see. And it's so important to have faith as small as a mustard seed. Small as a mustard seed. And I tell you what, my faith has gotten me through the toughest challenges in my life. And people say, well, how did you get through? My faith. And so if you're facing a challenge, remember, you will get through. I believe in you. God's got this. Keep going. Now, a resilient mindset. If you're listening into this message today, I encourage you to shift your negative mindset, if you have a negative mindset, to a positive mindset and maintain what is called a resilient mindset. So important throughout this lifetime. Remember, if you find yourself there in that negative space, shift it because you have the ability to do so and maintain a positive mindset. And remember, how you talk to yourself matters. Are you talking to yourself negatively? Are you telling yourself that you can't do something before you even do it? I want you to shift your words today and say, I can do this. I believe in myself, and show up. And when you show up powerfully. Now, purpose. I truly believe that God has a purpose for everyone's life. And if you're listening to this message today, again, don't give up. And I say that often. Why? Because I believe in you. And hope, right? There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going. Now, the Warriors Blueprint. Now, God led me to create the Warriors Blueprint here. So if you can see this here on the screen. So step 1, faith. Step 2, a resilient mindset. Step 3, purpose. Step 4, action. And step 5, impact. Action truly matters as well. We can say that we want to do something, but action is required as well. How on earth will we get a result if there's no action? So we need to make certain that we are taking action. And that action is behind our words, not merely just saying things, right? And that's what we call integrity. Doing what you say, that whatever you say that you're going to do, make sure to do it. Now, the Young Leaders Workbook. I created a Young Leaders Workbook for you. Yes, you. And I will share it out. You can find the link via the description. Once we are done with the Global Warriors Conference here and everything is uploaded, you will be able to find it in the description wherever you listen into your podcasts. So walk with me, walk with purpose. We've had amazing guests from all over the world join us and in our local area, Palm Coast, my hometown. My parents have been here 25 years. I've been back and forth because of college. And I'm grateful to be back in my hometown. It's a great town. And so again, that's the Walk With Me podcast. You can find it here and subscribe today. And then there's my contact information. It has my website, email, and social media. I'd love to hear from you, love to connect. And remember, there is a leader in you. Yes, you, even if you're young, I believe in you. Thank you. Now, if you can see here, I have a QR code. I would love to hear from you on how I did today. So if you could scan that QR code, just simply scan the QR code and tell me how I did. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.
That's how compromise works, though. It convinces us that one small decision won't really matter, but underneath all of those choices is usually something deeper. A desire to fit in, a desire to be accepted, a desire to be liked, a desire to prove ourselves. Maybe you've been walking around trying to earn what God freely offers, trying to prove yourself at school, or trying to get noticed by someone on your job, or trying to be enough for those you love. I know what that's like. I'm in it. Because my need to fit in and become who I thought I needed to be let me down. So never plug in. One of these reasons was the people I'm surrounding myself with. That's why the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good character. Think about it. Your friends influence your choices. Your choices shape your character, and your character shapes your future. I had good parents who both loved me. My dad, he worked hard and taught me a lot. My mom never stopped believing God had a plan for my life. But when I started hanging around the wrong crowd, little by little, they started influencing the decisions I made and eventually the person I was becoming. Your story may look different than mine. The pressure may come through social media now instead of neighborhoods. The trends may be different. The temptation may be different, but it's still the same prison. The prison of approval. Maybe you've never touched drugs, but have you ever walked into school wondering if people liked you? Ever deleted a post because it didn't get enough likes? Ever changed who you were just because people wouldn't accept you? Ever laughed at something that wasn't funny because you wanted to fit in? Have you ever stayed quiet because you were afraid of what people might think? That's the prison of approval. And the longer you live in the prison of approval, the further you will be from who God created you to be. And the more you will start looking for ways to numb the pain and escape the emptiness. And that's exactly what I did. The second prison is the prison of escape. The pressure of never feeling like enough is enough. The pressure of never feeling like enough eventually catches up with you. And for me, it led to addiction, bad decisions, a life spinning out of control, a near-death experience. People often assume that drugs were my problem. They weren't. Drugs were simply how I tried to deal with the deeper problem. Because when there's an ache in your heart that only God can fill, you'll eventually look for something else to fill it. For me, it was drugs. For you, it might be something completely different. Some use relationships, some food, some alcohol, some pornography, some social media, some success. All of it, though, is usually an attempt to escape something. The method may change, but the mission stays the same. Escape. Have you ever noticed how Jesus met people who were constantly looking for something to satisfy them? One of my favorite stories is in John chapter 4, and we see that Jesus meets a woman at a well. She had 5 husbands, and she was living with another man, and she comes to this well every day for water. But Jesus says something fascinating to her. He says, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. Think about that. He wasn't just talking about well water. He was talking about everything we run to instead of him. Relationships, popularity, social media, money, approval, addiction, all the things. A famous singer from the 60s once sang a song called I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And whether the writer realized it or not, that's the human condition apart from Christ. Because nothing in this world can satisfy a thirst that only Jesus can satisfy. That's why we keep reaching. That's why we keep running. We keep chasing. So let me ask you, what do you keep reaching for? What do you run to when life gets hard? What do you believe will finally make you feel enough? Because whatever that thing is, if it isn't Jesus, you'll always come back thirsty. And that's exactly where my choices led me. There was a time in my 20s when I was living in this not so good place. And one day something deep inside me said, Ben, it's time to go. Now I had ignored that still small voice my whole life. But this time I listened and did what any young man would have done when he needed help. I called my mama. The one person I knew would answer. The next morning I went to court because I knew I had a probation violation. And that decision led me to a place I never thought I'd end up. A jail cell. Not in church, not a Bible study, a jail cell. Low-key jail is a scary place to be, but it gives you a lot of time to think about your life and your choices. A few days after being there, I looked over and saw one of the guys from the not-so-good place being brought into the pod next to mine. And he told me that a couple of days after I left, he and another guy robbed a bank. This guy I'm talking to got caught buying some drip at the mall. Apparently, it's not a good idea to go shopping after robbing a bank. But we later found out that the other guy, after spending all his money on drugs, went back to the same bank by himself to rob it again. This time, someone lost their life. And I remember thinking, that could have been me. Back then, I thought going to jail was the worst thing that could have happened to me, but looking back, it was one of the greatest gifts God ever gave me. Because sometimes God's protection doesn't look like freedom. Sometimes it looks like a timeout or a jail cell. After spending about a year in jail, I was released, and you'd think I'd learned my lesson. I hadn't. It wasn't long before I went back to the same old crowd, making the same choices, trying to escape the same emptiness. I started stealing and writing bad checks to buy drugs, and before long, at 30 years old, I was back in jail. This time I was in terrible shape. I weighed only 93 pounds. I could barely eat. I couldn't sleep. My whole body ached. After a few days, I collapsed right in the middle of the pod in jail, and the officers rushed me to medical. My blood pressure had gotten so low that they sent me to the hospital. I'm drifting in and out of consciousness until I finally woke up, chained to a hospital bed, a correctional officer sitting in the corner, tubes and wires all attached to me, and I'm freezing cold even though I have multiple blankets on me. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. Have you ever found yourself in a situation and you think, how did I get here? Finally, a doctor came in to tell me that I've lost a lot of blood and they need to do a blood transfusion to save my life. And then he says, sign here so we can proceed. I was scared. I was freaking out. I'm all alone, but I signed a paper. And that night in the hospital room, I was saved by someone else's blood. A few days later, I was released and taken back to my jail cell, and I did something I had never done in my 30 years of living. I got down on my knees and I prayed. I didn't have all the right words. I didn't know any Bible verses. I didn't know church language. I didn't know theology. I simply knew I had run out of answers. And I was tired of trying to do life on my own. And that's when Jesus found me. The woman at the well thought another relationship would satisfy her. I thought drugs would satisfy me. Maybe you think popularity, money, success, followers, or approval will satisfy you. But every time we put something other than Jesus on the throne, we'll always come back thirsty. That's exactly where my choices led me. The blood transfusion had saved my body, but the blood of Jesus saved my soul. Come on, somebody.
Come on now.
That moment changed everything. The earth didn't shake and the prison doors didn't fly open, but it was like the weight of guilt and shame and not feeling like enough was somehow lifted off of me. But what nobody told me was salvation wasn't the finish line, it was the starting line. I got out of jail and God began changing my life. I went into full-time ministry, and from the outside it looked like everything had changed. And in many ways it had. But I soon found out the biggest prison in my life wasn't addiction. The biggest prison in my life was me. The third prison is the prison of control. When I gave my life to Jesus, I thought everything was going to be different. I thought all my problems were behind me. I thought God was going to fix everything. I thought life would finally make sense. But here's what I discovered. Jesus wasn't interested in changing what was happening around me. He was determined to change what was happening inside me. I wanted to obey him. I wanted to tell people about him. I wanted to make a difference, but ministry wasn't always easy. There were seasons I prayed for doors to open, and they stayed closed. There were opportunities I thought God wanted me to have that never happened. There were people I trusted who disappointed me. And every time one of those things happened, God exposed something in me. I still wanted to be in control. I wanted God to bless my plans, my timeline, my dreams, my ministry, my future. But Jesus never promised to build my kingdom. He invited me into his. I learned that obedience doesn't always lead you where you expect. Sometimes it leads you into waiting. Sometimes into disappointment. Sometimes to closed doors. Sometimes into suffering. But every one of those moments forced me to answer the same question. Do I trust Jesus because he's giving me what I want, or because he's king? That's why Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. That's easy to quote, much harder to live, especially when God's plan doesn't look like anything you thought you had in mind. That was a pivotal moment for me, that realization. God wasn't just asking me to trust him with my circumstances. He was asking me to surrender my life. That's why Galatians 2:20 is so key. Paul says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. Think about that word crucified. We don't use that word very often. Crucifixion wasn't comfortable. It wasn't convenient. You know what it was? It was complete surrender. Dead people don't fight for the throne. Dead people don't insist on their own way. Dead people don't demand their own timeline. Dead people don't build their own kingdom. Dead people don't get the final say. Paul says, I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. In other words, the throne is no longer mine. Jesus sits there now. And that's exactly what Jesus meant when he said, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. But let me say this. Following Jesus didn't answer every question I had. It didn't remove every struggle. It didn't make every dream come true. What it did do was teach me that Jesus could be trusted even when I didn't understand what he was doing. The hardest thing I've ever had to surrender wasn't drugs. It wasn't prison. It was my right to be in control. Because every prison I've ever lived in, approval, escape, and control, all started with the same person sitting on the throne, me. Maybe today you're trapped in the prison of approval, and you've spent your whole life trying to prove yourself. Maybe you're trapped in the prison of escape, and you've been running from pain in ways nobody else can see. Or maybe you're trapped in the prison of control, and you're trying to hold together a life that was never yours to manage in the first place. The prison may be different, but the problem is the same. So let me ask you, who's sitting on the throne of your life? Is it your popularity, your future, your success, your fears, your plans? Or is it Jesus? Because every prison we find ourselves in ultimately has the same key. Surrender. Not religion, not self-improvement, not trying harder, not pretending. Surrender. That's why Jesus doesn't say improve yourself. He doesn't say believe in yourself. He doesn't say follow your dreams. He says deny yourself. Because the gospel isn't about making a better version of you. It's about giving your life to Jesus. I spent years trying to become somebody, but Jesus showed me I had value because I belonged to him. I spent years trying to build my kingdom, but Jesus invited me into his. Maybe today is the day you stop running. Maybe today is the day you stop pretending. Maybe today is the day you stop trying to control everything. Maybe today is the day you surrender your life to Jesus Christ. After more than 20 years of following Jesus, I'm still learning the same lesson. Every single day, I have to decide who's going to sit on the throne, me or Jesus. And every day that I choose him, I find a little more freedom. Because Jesus is a better Savior than I am, a better leader than I am, and a better king than I am. Real freedom doesn't begin when Jesus becomes part of your life. Real freedom begins when Jesus becomes king of it. Thank you for your time.
Wow, absolutely powerful. Thank you so much, Ben. We truly appreciate you. Now, at this time, I'd love to welcome our next speaker, Dr. Amber Lyons. Dr. Amber Lyons is the CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose, services within the community. From Pain to Purpose was originally birthed with the vision to aid and support domestic violence-based resource, working with organizations, churches, businesses, governmental agencies, and schools to educate, equip, empower, and encourage the community at large, pertaining to critical community issues. We provide motivational speaking, they say, workshops, seminars, Q&A panel discussions, mentorship, and various other services through partnerships and projects. Welcome, beautiful soul, my sister, Dr. Amber Lyons.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gigi.
You are welcome.
Sabbat. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much to the Life Service Center of America for having us here today as a part of your first youth conference. We are excited to be here because guess what? We have been working with youth, personally myself, for over 30 years. So as a youth advocate and someone who has worked to help youth with leadership opportunities and so many different educational and just platforms to be able to provide for our youth so that they can be able to walk in their purpose, use their gifts and talents and all of that good stuff to be able to express their pain and to get healing from their pain. With, as Dr. Gigi already stated, I am my organization is From Pain to Purpose Incorporated, and my topic today is talking about Cope to Hope. Check in. What's on your mind? So today we're checking in with all of you that are watching, all of you that are here, so that we can be able to say, what are we talking about for the youth? We're talking about mental health. Our Cope to Hope program is one of the initiatives under our Healing Pain Through the Arts youth program, and Cope to Hope is speaking directly to the mental health pandemic, the mental health crisis, the mental health issues that are plaguing our youth and young adults at this time. We started Cope to Hope. My organization has been going for 15 years, thank God. This October will be 16. But our Cope to Hope program is our baby. We've been doing this for 4 years, and we have been working together in person and virtually around the world, globally, to be able to speak to be able to educate and to equip youth and young adults and adults as well regarding the importance of maintaining your mental health. We have had the opportunity to just recently go to Los Cabos, Mexico last month, June the 11th, with Dr. Gigi as part of the World Women's Conference and Awards organization. We were there together with Regne Senekis, who is the founder of World Women's Conference and Awards, and so many amazing ladies. We were there together to just, in sisterhood and leadership and entrepreneurship. But Cope to Hope was the topic that I spoke about in Los Cabos. So not only have we gone globally, virtually, but we set our feet globally to speak about Cope to Hope and take Cope to Hope around the world. So Cope to Hope is more than a movement. It's more than just actually a program. It is a movement of hope. When the pandemic happened, the young people, teenagers, there was a 65% increase in the teens emergency room visits for mental health. So since that time, that's coming out of the pandemic in 2022 is when we birthed Cope to Hope. We started talking about it in May. We began to put it out on the internet and promo it in June, and we had our first in-person check-in in partnership with our church, Young Adult Ministry. Our church is Spirit and Truth International Worship Center here, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, so they're in Monroe, Georgia, and we partnered with the Young Adult Ministry to be able to have a check-in, create safe spaces, bring together resources and information and panelists and licensed mental health professionals to be able to allow our young people to talk about what they were dealing with that they weren't sharing with anybody else. You talk about an amazing, amazing time that we had together there, and we've had so many in-person check-ins and so forth, and we do so much more. But there was a 65% increase during that time, and I know that there's been an uptick. There has been an increase and a rise recently among our youth and young adults when it comes to not only depression, not only when it comes to, anxiety and having anxiety amongst different spaces and places, and not, you have a lot of young people that have social anxiety. You have young people that's dealing with a lot of other mental health, not just depression, but manic depression. And you have young people that's dealing with suicidal ideation, and not just suicidal ideation, but they're dealing with committing suicide and choosing to self-eliminate themselves from this life because they don't feel that their life matters enough to stay and fight and to stay and I'm not just talking about young people who have not been in therapy. I'm not just talking about young people whose parents had their nose in the sand. Some of these young people have been in therapy. They have had therapists. They have graduated from mental health programs, and yet they still chose to self-eliminate, to take their life because of what they were dealing with. What was it they were dealing with? It's a myriad of different things that's a whole nother topic and program, but they were dealing with personal issues that caused them to feel like their life did not matter. So Cope to Hope, we started last year with a campaign. And when I say we have a wonderful ambassador named Kyrie Virgin, who actually has put his feet to the ground and telling his own story about depression and mental health. And he has grown by leaps and bounds over this past year as our ambassador, not only speaking on different topics and speaking, has a heart for men and men who are walking around. One of the things he says is that a lot of men are walking around with smiles on their faces, and this is just not men, but he's relating it to men because he is a man. Men are walking around with smiles on their faces, but yet volcanoes are erupting on the inside. And when we recently lost one or two of our young people at our church, it was something that shocked us to our core, and especially him being a young man. One of the young men was 20 years old. This is something that has been we've been championing it. Our organization was built on domestic violence and teen dating violence, then youth advocacy, and now mental health. So over the past 15 years, we've dealt with all of these hard topics. But when I tell you that mental health is something that God has really birthed within my spirit with Cope to Hope, Cope to Hope the cope is the issue. When you go to programs and things of that nature, you learn coping mechanisms. You learn how to function and how to take your meds if you're put on medicine, and how to be able to choose the things that help you to make it through that moment, that episode, the manic depressive episode, or whatever it is you may be dealing with. But it's hope that is going to give us the victory over the suicide that the enemy desires, because the enemy, and when I say the enemy, I mean the devil, Satan, goes around to and fro seeking whom he may devour, and his job is to destroy the life of our youth and young adults, because he knows that if he allows them to get to the place that God would have for them, they are unique, they are outstanding, they're our youth, they're outstanding, they're unique, and they're refined. And if they truly get to the knowledge of who they truly are, they will wreak havoc all over his kingdom because of the power of God that he has within them. But instead, the enemy chooses to try to bombard them with depression and relationships issues, and he don't like me, and people are taking their lives because they're not liked by others. This whole internet has become a place where it's the devil's workshop. Yes, there's a lot of good that goes on the internet. There's a whole lot that we can do, a whole lot that we benefits on there and all that, because look, we're here. But at the same time, there is evil that's going on where people are creating even fake pages to be able to attack others. So to tell them, destroy yourself, kill yourself, your life doesn't matter. Or the peer pressure that they're facing in school about maybe they don't dress the way others do. Maybe their personality is different, and they're not the outgoing person. They're not the flashy person. They don't have the money to buy the fancy clothes and all of those things. So All of these things are impacting our young people. Their parents are going through right now. The economics we know are crazy. Everything is high. People who even make a good salary are finding themselves struggling when it comes to certain things. The real estate market, all of these things, the job employment market, people are losing their jobs. This is impacting our youth. How? Because it's impacting the parents who parent the youth. And those parents sometimes do not know how to communicate with their children. So it trickles down, and they too are dealing with unhealed past trauma, which they begin to parent from, and they don't know how to communicate and how to be able to reach their child and truly understand that they're hiding things from you. Yeah, they say children are never going to tell their parents everything. But when you begin to see differences in your children, when you begin to see the red flags, when you begin to see them hang with people who you know are not good for them, they begin to change their behavior pattern. Maybe they were always listening and doing the wonderful things that you told them to do, or doing the chores and doing well in school, and now all of a sudden their grades are slipping. Now all of a sudden they talking back. Now all of a sudden, they want to hang out to all hours of the night with, unseemly people, or they're in relationships that you see them changing, you see them becoming isolated. It's things you got to pay attention to these things. The C in COPE is for us to be able to check in. Check in creates communication, and we don't mean the surface communication. How was your day? And then they're in their room. No, you got to talk to them. You got to get in the communication. Begin to even reveal some things about your own self. As elders and adults, we don't like to share our pitfalls and our failures, but sometimes they need to be able to relate and know that you too messed up, or you too had these issues. So we do not take that mask off and act like we got it all together. We will not be able to reach them. They need to understand mommy and daddy messed up too. Mommy and daddy, and sometimes they're children of divorce. Those things impact our children too. It impacts their mental health. Adults say, y'all just got to go to school and make good grades. You ain't got to pay no bills. You ain't got to worry about no rent. You ain't got to worry about no mortgage. You ain't got to worry about no car note. So you ain't got no problems. That is so far from the truth. That's so far from the truth, because, they may not have those responsibilities. Howsoever, let me reveal to you that they do have issues that they're dealing with. And they are a whole lot worse in some areas than they were when we were coming up, because the internet has totally revamped what they're available to, what they're available in their hand, those tablets for the little babies that's on the tablets, those phones that the children get that they have. We know it's a whole world out there. And some of the stuff that they are exposed to, it's too much. Sometimes when even in the home, if you're from a divorced home where parents are not getting along, and even if they're getting along, it still impacts the child. It still impacts them. It still makes them feel less than. It gives them issues that sometimes they don't know how to handle. So Hope to Hope is a program that we don't just deal with hope, with coping. So the C is for checking, creates communication. And then you have the O for observation, it opens opportunities. We have to observe and not turn a blind eye to the red flags, some of the red flags that I mentioned already, the changes you see, the people that you see them hanging out with, their attitude change and their disposition. Pay attention to those things. The communication that's coming out of their mouth, it's changing, and now they're being disrespectful. Pay attention and deal with those things. And then the P is provision. We are the ones that provide the provision, but we have to be able to be prepared in order to provide what is needed. And that doesn't always mean finances. Sometimes it means your time. It means you sitting down and let's go to the park and talk, or let's go out to lunch, or let's do something different, and let's just step away from the hustle and the bustle, and let's just spend some time together. Pour into your children. And then the E stands for eager. Eager. We have to be eager to be able to see the red flags. When we see the red flags, we have to rush in because we want to see green flags. Yes, the color for mental health is green. Blue for June for men's mental health, but the color is green. When we see the green flags, then everything is all good. We're fine. But when there's red flags, what are we doing? We have to be eager to be able to address these red flags that we see. So there is so much more to Code to Hope. There is so much more to what we do. I can't share it all at one time in this short time, but let me say this. When you say the campaign that I mentioned, What's on Your Mind is our campaign that we've been doing for the past year. If you don't leave here with anything else, I want you to tuck that in your sleeve. What's on your mind? Begin to ask people what's on your mind. We're not talking about the weather. Well, if that's concerning them, they may be having allergies. Who knows? But we're talking about what's on your mind here. What's on your heart? What is it that, are you okay? Begin to ask people that. That is what I want to leave you with. What's on your mind? Because sometimes people need to know that you care. I'll close with this. Find what ails you, seek what heals you, forgive what damages you, and embrace what builds you. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Dr. Gigi, thank you so much for this time. Cope to Hope it's so much more that we can share, but I'm going to leave it there. And I hope that someone can walk away understanding that we're not just trying to deal with coping, but we want to get them back to hoping. The Bible says in Proverbs 13:12 that hope defers makes the heart sick. But when a dream is fulfilled, it's like a tree of life. So that's the place that we want to get back. We cannot combat or deal with or have healthy mental health today without the Lord. Thank you.
Amen. Very powerful, Dr. Amber Lyons. And it was so great seeing you out there in Los Cabos, Mexico, my friend. Yes. Yes. And thanks for all that you do on the front lines in regards to the youth. Thanks so much. And raising awareness about domestic violence. Love it. Now,
yes, ma'am. Thank you for creating this space for all of us to come.
Of course.
And be a support to our young people and share our information. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Received. Now, our next speaker is Elsie Melendez. And Elsie Melendez is a lawyer and a speaker. And she'll be joining us here on the big screen on the Big Mac here. If you can see that here, I'm just going to pull it up here. Can everyone see my screen here? Are you able to see my screen? If you're on the online platform there, can you see the screen?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, I'm going to bring it forward then. Okay, can I have some assistance here?
You can see the person at the bottom, but you can't actually see what's on the screen.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you? Powerful talk, right? And again, how seniors and the youth do intertwine here in this subject here in regards to pets. Make sure to take care of your pets there. Now, our next speaker is Nate. And Nate is a guitar player and he is an author and he just released a book. Nate, I hope you're going to tell us a little bit more about the book as well. Welcome, Nate. Oh, Nate, you're muted.
Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's my job. Anyway, I published a book today called The Miracle That Stayed. It's about when I was 1995 when I was born. I'm 30 years old. I went over the ship after I've been since I was 12 years old. And the reason I wrote the book was because I wanted to do that as a healing place. And I wanted to be able to show people that there's always hope, no matter what. It may not always seem like there's hope, but there is hope. You know, my mom was very abusive. My mom would always use meth and alcohol. And what I did, instead of choosing chaos, I chose discipline. I got it to be a trainer in football. I was born 2 kidneys, but I only have 1 kidney. I live on my own now. I'm 30 years old. And believe it or not, but if you have a picture of my book cover, but if not, that's okay. It's on Amazon right now. If y'all want to go buy it. And the thing that what I go to for the read is that I want people to realize that no matter how bad things get, whether you're in prison, whether you're stuck in a place, you should always look at the positive and be able to grow hope because God is always with you, no matter what. God always has a plan for you, no matter what. God gave you the life you live because He knows you're the right person to live the life you live. He knows how long you may have. You should be thankful for the life you live. I remember just like we were yesterday, there's no electricity in the house. My mom could never pay for electricity because she always chose to ride over electricity. She always chose to ride over me. And to tell you the truth, I would have changed it for the world because I'm just grateful for the life I live. If I didn't live the life I live, I would have never been able to ride this boat. Ever. And to be honest, one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned in life was don't let people tell you you can't do something. Because if they can't do it, they're going to tell you that you can't do it because they are too embarrassed to admit that they failed. Rather than be hopeful for other people to succeed, they're too afraid to admit it. But don't let them hold you back. Just keep driving. Just keep rising. I'm deaf, I have one kidney and I have trouble palsy, but I never let that define me. I live on my own. I have a stable job. I play the guitar. I'm just blessed. And, you know, every time I write a book, I was laughing fun because I realized how far I've came. And I'm 6 months sober. And I give my chip that we've got ACA. I don't know what I'm going to say, but, you know, I graduated June 7, 2014 out of high school. And despite all the odds, I just kept pushing back and pushing back. Yeah. Oh, hello. I don't know.
Yes, we're in person here, Nate. On our end, we are in person in Palm Coast. Nate's like, wait a minute.
He's like, where'd she come from?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Please continue, Nate.
Yeah, that was cool.
Okay. So, last I actually passed out a little bit. And, just like, you know, November 7th, 2025, before my ex-wife left me because she had an emotional affair. And I'm like, okay, so I just went in rebuild mode and rebuilt myself from the ground up. And, you know, I think, you know, anytime we go through a rough patch in your life, it's always a good thing at the end of the tunnel because it teaches you life lessons like God gives. You don't just sit around and let it and ignore it. You have to find a way to solve it. Because if you just put it under the rug and pretend it doesn't happen, it's going to follow you everywhere you go, no matter what. You're going to have to understand life choices. I've been hurt a million times, but I've always gotten back up. And so there's a song called Souls. And in my book, I could for your own soul every time you make A to B with no office faults. And so me and Wayne made a bet, my grandfather. And it's so in the first 6 weeks of 8th grade, he said that if you make songs the first 6 weeks, that he'll take me to my first concert. And so I got to ACDC when I made songs the first 6 weeks. And that's when I was, came out of drugs and alcohol and abuse, you know, with all that chaos that's going on, it's just, it's not really worth the life to live. It might really be fun. I might love the money and all that, but really, you'll be a lot happier if you keep your life straight now. No question. And I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, Nate, you froze.
You did.
Interesting. Not sure what happened there. Like, just completely frozen. Guess we'll give it a minute or two.
Hit pause, guys. You're live on Facebook. Give us a moment.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. Thanks to me. I'm gonna go pay for some. I'm gonna back here. I found some people.
I think you're frozen too. It's the other internet.
The internet
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys, a technical issue here.
issues.
Um,
I mean, I can pull it on the other magic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Do you? Can you switch it to your Wi-Fi? Is that gonna work? or-
yeah, but it's not even loading. So.
Oh, okay.
I
I
will.
thought you were gonna say something.
Oh. So sorry. Okay. Actually, I have it on my computer. You want me to bring it out?
Yeah.
The other one. Just thought about that.
This room. With technical issues, you know, it's computers. When you're dealing with technology, these things are bound to happen. But I have a backup computer, so. There you go. Okay. I'm just gonna pull it up on the Big Mac. Usually when you.
It's already on, but it's the internet that was freezing. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. We have a backup computer.
Right. Okay. Can you hear us? He's there.
Okay, Nate, can you hear us? Can you put your volume up? We were able to pull up another
Oh, yeah,
computer
you did
here.
tell me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we can still hear you, Nate. You can continue.
Oh, okay. I don't know where y'all locked me at.
We're here. Yes,
Oh
please
my
continue. We just had to get another computer entirely, but we're good.
Yeah, no, I was like, did I board on them? I don't know.
Yeah, no, there was a technical issue. You're good. Please continue.
But what would I say when y'all lost me so I know where I'm at?
You were showing us a picture and then you were talking about it and then you froze.
No, I think you can pull it up, but it's okay. I don't think I can. Well, actually, first. There. Yeah, I don't really know if I.
That's okay if you can't show the picture, Nate. You can just tell us about it.
Well, so it's about. So the book's on Amazon. It's called Milk with That State, A Mother's Love and Son's Fight. It's $6.11 today. It's on Amazon. It's about when I overcame my mom using drugs and alcohol and hookers and how I overcame my disabilities. And I just encourage people to read it to remember that there's always hope, no matter what you're going through. And, I voted for a healing phrase. I did an interview with Michael Butler this morning. That was fun.
Very good.
I remember when I did an interview with you a few weeks ago about how, why I voted. And I voted for a healing phrase. I wanted people to have hope, like I said. I thought Mother's Love for Son Fire is basically a twist because it's about when my mom was like drugged over me. And when I was going through all that rough, there's no stability, no rules. No, like I could do whatever I want, whenever I want. But looking back now, it was a very rough place. Now I'm very happy. Like I just could not have been happier. I'm saying the same thing because I don't know when I lost it. I do play the guitar.
Oh,
And I did play the benefit last November.
nice. Nice.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. And Nate, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And what is the name of your book that you just released?
The Miracle That Stayed, a Mother's Love and Son's Fight.
The Miracle That Stayed. And the book cover, right? It's an image of you and your mother, correct?
Yes.
And essentially, the book itself, some may take the subtitle and may have a misunderstanding of it. Can you explain to us what the subtitle means?
You mean the Miracle That Stayed? The how about the title of was it's actually ironic. I was actually watching it. So I finished the book in like just a few months. I was actually watching the movie Miracle on Ice, and I thought about like, okay, I'm a miracle baby. That kind of got me an idea, and I thought, well, can I start learning the miracle that stays? Because I'm a miracle baby, and I'm loyal. Not thanks to all of the chaos, I could have left. That's why it's called the miracle that stays.
Right. Thank you, Nate. Thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate you and keep doing the amazing work that you're doing in regards to the youth and what you're doing on the front lines. Absolutely amazing. Now, our next speaker is a beautiful soul. We're actually here in person together in Palm Coast, Florida, my hometown. And her name is Orjanette Bryan. And Orjanette is a nurse practitioner. Welcome, Orjanette.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, good evening, everyone. And first of all, I want to say thank you, Dr. Gigi, for having me here today and for your passion of giving to the community. And you're so committed to helping support each other in our growth, and your coaching, your life coaching has been amazing. I learned a lot from you, Nate. Thank you for that information that you shared, and your survivor. I don't even know how you did it. I really don't.
Well, I just showed a lot of heart and don't let people hold me back.
Okay, that's right. You got to be fearless for sure.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk to you all about dream big and put it in writing. Okay, so we're talking to the youth today, correct?
Yes.
And what I want to say to the youth is you're not too young to start to let your dreams come to fruition. So what I want to start with, we start activating our faith through a dream. First, we have a dream. The dream, I want to dream. I want to do something. You want to do something. It's in your head. You never put it on paper. It never comes to fruition. You just say, okay, well, I just have a dream. But you got to start to activate your faith by putting that dream into writing. Now, remember when you were a kid and the first time they said, sign your name on the line. And you're like, what does this mean? Why do I have to sign this piece of paper? Activating your faith in your writing, that's your contract. You're signing a contract. You're agreeing to whatever it is that is on paper. So that is the first initial step, is when you put it on paper, you're solidifying something, right? So what I tell people to do is, if you have a thought, Write it down. Journaling is a great gift or hobby to do because it helps you to just put all your thoughts on paper, and someday in the future it may lead into a book. I've written 6 books now, and as a kid, I remember I was a youth, like Ben was mentioning, he was a troubled youth, and Nate said he went through some challenges as well. I was doing things that I shouldn't have done at a very young age because of my hurt. And sometimes we think that if our circumstances and our situation and where we come up, like I might not have enough, or all the limitations, the challenges that we go through, we may pause on life and the cycle of gaining access to our future. We don't think about it. Like, for instance, let me say this. Our parents may not have enough money. I may live in a project. I may not have enough money to go to college. And you have all these challenges you're facing, and then you never think for a moment that maybe I can change the narrative of what that looks like. Now, as a kid, it is very important that you activate your faith by putting it in writing. Okay, you're looking at it, you're reading it, you're rehearsing in your mind, I want to be. This is who I am, not what someone else has created for you. And sign your name on that paper saying, I am Dr. So-and-so. You see, the power of visualization can change everything. Put this, minimize that for me a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. When you visualize something on paper, it changes how you remember it, how you rehearse it, how you activate it, and it does seal the deal or the contract for you. So I challenge you to do this. Back in 2015, I did a youth project initiative where we did Small Voices Heard. This is a book here. And this book was to help the parents to understand some key component or elements to help the youth to learn how to activate their future on writing. They were going to write it. They were going to talk about it. They were going to tell their parents, this is what I need for my future. And 80% of the participants that graduated went on to do something very powerful in their life. As you can see right here, this young lady is playing soccer. Some of them went to do professional sports. Some became teachers. Some went to college. They did all kind of amazing things. I have some that do a dance studio. That's kind of amazing. She's doing a dance studio. But anyways, as a kid, we don't think that we have the abilities to do certain things that grown-ups can do. But if you start to work on the process today, then your future will be more impacted and the trajectory of your life will change. I promise you. Imagine starting a group, and I say this to the adults on the line. If you get a group of kids together and you do the same thing, the initiative, you put a group of kids together and you just kind of talk to them about their future, about some of the things they want to do. Who am I? What do I want to do? Who I want to be? And you help them in that group create a journal or affirmation statements. They will actually do more for them than you could imagine. It would teach them how to change the narrative of their life. It would actually help them to focus more. And actually, it's a great school project because when the kids see themselves in the project, then it changes who they really see. Like, it's not somebody else. You know, in the education system, we use, Johnny so-and-so, and we use all these different people, like European English, but the kids don't always, they don't always, what I want to say, they don't get it. Right. You understand? They don't understand or comprehend what we're trying to teach them. But when you start make the youth a part of the subject, it changes the narrative of who they are, where they want to be, and where they're going in life. So that's a very powerful tool. As a youth, when I was young, I was telling you about when I was young, I actually skipped school And I remember a lot of my friends used to say, "Oh, she's a Dr. So and so, Dr. So and so." And I'm like, yeah. And I really did want to be a doctor, but think about it. I wasn't going to school. I wasn't applying myself, and I didn't even feel like I was in an environment where I could do it. To be honest with you, my mother, I don't believe anyone went to college at the time well, no, I take it back. My aunt went to college. So she was the only one who went to college. And at that time, I didn't think that where I was from and what my resources could help me get to college. So I really didn't pay too much attention. But then as I got older, I began to understand the power of dreams and how to activate those dreams by writing it down and solidifying the contract. We have some more youth that joined us today.
Yes, we do. I'll go ahead and share the screen.
And thank you guys for coming. So when I was doing certain things and I was hearing people say Dr. So and so, and I was doing things the opposite, you do go through youth challenges. You do go through things in life where you're not going to do the right thing. However, do not let that define who you are and what you're going to do and who you're going to be. It's very important for you to solidify your dreams and desires and passions for yourself. You start to create a contract and a plan, a blueprint of where you're going to go in your future. I promise you it will change everything. Even if you're living in the projects and you don't have resources, if you say to yourself, okay, we don't have it today, and you write it in paper, and you say, but in the future, I know that I can and I will, and you hope for it. It will change everything, I promise. So when I say dream big and put it in writing, do it and activate your future now. Now, if you want to begin your challenge today as a youth, I want you to start to regroup, rethink, and rebrand yourself. You can start to rebrand from day one. This month right now is what? Youth something month. Youth Empowerment Month.
Anyone on the call?
I think it's
Amber
Youth
Lyons?
Empowerment, and they're sharing like different books that they're writing. Yes. We have youth authors, entrepreneurs. We have youth doing all kind of things. So they've been having events and seminars, and this is good because a lot of times we think about the youth as being a lost generation when they're really not. They're really not. They're just focused on something different from what we expect or what we think. So talking to our youth is very important, and challenging our youth and listening to our youth is going to be as important too. Now, if you are having a desire that you want something, and say for instance, you do want to be a doctor, nurse, or even an engineer or something like that, I would say go and visit some of the professionals that are in that field and have them.
World Skills Youth Day.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Lyons.
Day. Thank you so much. I knew it was yes. So think about some of the things that you want to do and places that you want to be in your future, and start shadowing and mentoring with people who are in the profession now. If you want to be a business owner, just go and shadow with a business owner, but listen to every aspect. Ask questions, allow them to groom you for success. Okay. Because you can do it. I know you can do it. Also, I want to say that it is a very powerful thing when you start to create books and stories. It's very powerful because when you do that, it changes who you think you are, and it helps you stay really tuned into your future. So stay focused and regroup. My name is Orjanette Cooper Bryant Conti. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner. And like I said, I've gone through a lot of challenges in my life as a kid. And I really didn't write it down. I didn't have anybody to tell me what to do and how to do this and how to go to college. I had to learn a lot of stuff on my own. So what I'm sharing to you is start to write it down, dream big, find a mentor, go to a business owner, ask questions, be sincere, and I promise you your future will change. This is Orjanette.
Wow. Thank you so much, Orjanette. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you. Now, before we do the closing remarks and prayer here, I would love to hear from you all. Do you all have any questions for any of the speakers that you heard from today? Anyone here with us today in person have any questions for any of the speakers? I mean, I understood it pretty well. Oh, you understood it pretty well? Okay, nice. What was your biggest takeaway? I would really say definitely the write it down part, so you can really manifest that success and have your own biography because that's what I'm gonna do when I get home. So
Oh, that's good.
very good.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing.
And it doesn't have to be a whole sentence, paragraph. It could be a word. One word that you put on paper can have much power for you. When you do that and put it on your mirror and look at it every day, it will change everything. What about you, Zach? Anything you like to say?
I think this message really speaks to people who have dreams and they see those dreams come to pass.
Yeah.
And this means a lot, to have someone else talk about something that feels really personal and usually is only something that you would feel that you go through when someone else let's say you're going through a problem that's really closed off. It's more a personal thing and someone's going through it too and they're talking about it or something spiritual. It builds that connection between you and the person you're talking about. It's really nice.
Wow, I love that. I love that
likewise.
what he said. It was
Very good.
yeah, and you just don't think the small things matter, but they do. They do. Creating a space like this for them to just hear stories like Ben said, the things he was in the jail system and to be able to come out of jail and become the powerful person that he is today. I mean, that really resonated something inside of me. And to hear his resilience was important. And even Nate talking about his story and how he overcome some health challenges, it's amazing to me.
That's right. Yes, and a lot of people think because they've been incarcerated that they cannot do anything else. That there is no hope. But Ben is a walking, talking testimony that there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can turn it all around, right? And it's a decision. It's what are you doing after the fact? And so, Ben, thank you so much for letting your voice be heard. You are a powerful and beautiful soul, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thank you everyone in the room today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Wow. And I saw that.
Oh, you did?
One
Okay.
of our speakers.
Okay,
Yes,
you saw it.
thank
Okay.
you. Yvonne popped up here. We would love to hear from you, Yvonne. And you're actually up. We were about to close out, but we would love to hear from you, Yvonne. We were experiencing some technical issues there, so I don't know how long you've been on the call, Yvonne, or if you just hopped on. But anyhow, welcome, Yvonne. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Gigi. I'm working. I was working, so I'm in this moment for talk about how to create or healthy relationships. But just tell me what's the next step.
Yes, and so we would just love to hear from you in regards to youth. What would you like to discuss today as far as the youth goes? The youth? So the subject that we're discussing today is youth, and I'm pulling up your topic here. You had here how to create healthy relationships in regards to youth.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So, good evening, everybody here, and in this space of topics. I would talk about the healthy relationships. Sometimes we don't know why if the relationships very toxic or different with our parents, our couples in a job, and how could we do these relationships for nourishes things and not toxic relationships. So I have a question for you. For example, what is a relationship for the meaning of relationship? If you could say write or text their translate, for example. And if you have, we are part of a system. For example, our body is meaning or is making make it or with 12 systems, and each one have many organs, and each organ has a function. For example, the communication, the interchange for balance, with a balance. And with this balance, we could do not the justify, for example, when we have a conflict, in a conflict or a problem in a relationship, and sometimes we just fake want to convince for the other, and we don't listen for the reasons for the other person, or maybe we don't say no, or we don't put it on order our beliefs, because that's very important to know your roots, your deep roots, by the history familiar or familiar history. So in this in this in this time or your life, if you know more for your familiar history, you could change that beliefs. You can say yes or say no. If you want to change this history and these beliefs, the patterns, that old patterns maybe it was fake beliefs, and limit or be an obstacle for the growth